I'm gonna see who can hear me, and who can't. Fuck, dude, that was fucking annoying. Yeah, just fucking privatize this shit. I'm trying to see who can hear me. All right, that was some bullshit. That was weird as hell. The YouTube gods are cursing me right now. Fuck, man. That was weird as fuck, dude. Can you still hear me even though the music's playing? Can you hear me though the music's playing? 1, 2, 3. If you can't hear me, let me know. I feel like the music makes it so that you can't hear me. All right, you can hear me for sure. All right. Yeah, let's just fucking. Hey, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give the link. Only trigger happy and no diplomacy. If you want to come on. I need somebody on deck to let me know if I'm still being heard. Feel free to join trigger or no diplomacy before we get this pop-a-locking. If not, if you don't want to, it's all good. We could just continue on with what we were doing before. I'm gonna just wait for more people to show up. Give me a 1 if you can still hear me in the chat. What's good, Mr. Rich?
Hey, yo, what's poppin'? Everything is good.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what was going on because I was seeing my audio. I was seeing the audio, and I was like, "Wait, why can't y'all hear me?" That's hella weird.
Nah, it's perfect right now.
All right, for sure. All right, so I'm hold up real quick. I'm gonna play the intro song again. Wait for people to come in, and then we about to be on and popping.
Shut up, you dumb, you sound like a coon. Get out, stay clear of this room. We proud, we black, rich, and forever stay paid. They lives that killing spray from the soil they misslaid. Their tales are sham, cooked up by scammers who toil. So shut up, chief X, you're a grifter, spoil. Your bow have a drivel like your soul. Coptic verse, their language is liturgical, not to rehearse curse. While Ethiopian and Nubian cops and Cairo so merciful. Drop troops surgical, leaving your myths pitiful. You act like black folks ain't speaking Remy, give me your idiocy. Runs deep, can't study, can't even see. Bubble brother, hush up before I knock your sugar out. Don't twist our ancestors' lore, I'll butcher your clout.
Unity can make our truth burns bright. We stand as one, exposing your lies tonight. No scam or false prophet can dim our light. Not unfiltered, let pride take flight.
You claim you came from Baltimore, just more trash on display. I bet the faithful flock was out dusting your ass away. Into that fat orange cat, you're dumber than a box of rocks. Pushing assimilation as politics to shock like cheap mock. We spot you for a mile, your actions isn't slick. This is real knowledge, not your kuna logical scholarship. If you scared, you should be watching as I spit. God's flame, no bars, no game. You're done when I put you to shame.
Twisted lies crumble and your fake talk fades. Our united voice echoes, truth never degrades. From the ashes of the sea, our spirit invades. In Kemet's name, your false crown forever cascades.
Gauzy aka Amir, the scam's a total disgrace. The inner web of one jargon at a crooked scheme and pace. You twist words confused, try to carve up a space. A fraud, your fake gospel body came with no base. You try to fool slow blacks with your bogus empty guys, but your clumsy act crumbles under truth piercing eyes. Kemet stands united, no room for your deceitful art. Step aside, false prophet, your lies will break a heart.
Unity in Kemet, our truth burns bright. We stand as one, exposing your lies to lies tonight. No scam or false prophet can dim our light. Kemet unfiltered, let pride takes flight.
All right.
Unity in Kemet, our truth burns bright. We stand as one, exposing the lies tonight. No scam or false prophet can dim our light. Kemet unfiltered, black pride takes flight.
All right, y'all can still hear me? We still good?
Perfect.
For sure, for sure. All right, I'm about to play this video. We about to go in. Again, this is from the grifter Chief X. This is from Chief X's channel. Chief X has been going on a tear, you know, against Black Egypt. I don't know if a conscious sister broke his heart or if he got ripped off by somebody. But over the past 4 years, he's just been on this tear, promoting the most bogus arguments that I've ever seen in my life about ancient Kemet and the ancient Remen-Kimi population. So we're going to share 2 videos on his channel, and we're going to go in. And I have to say, like, you would have to be an idiot. Like, you would legitimately have to be an idiot to take any of these arguments seriously. You would have to be a moron. Complete and utter moron.
Still exist today? Let me explain. There is an ethnicity in Egypt and Sudan which is called Coptic people. Now, why are they so special? Copts follow Christianity in the country, which is majority Muslim, and their religious literature uses a language called Coptic, which is a direct descendant of the ancient Egyptian.
Listen, he just said religious literature. Their religious literature. Most Copts, their indigenous language is Arabic. The overwhelming majority of the Coptic people, they do not speak Met Remen-Kimi. They do not speak the so-called Coptic language. They speak Arabic. Only when they go to church, when they're singing, when they're praying, when they're singing memorized liturgy that you could learn yourself if you really wanted to. Only when they go to church are they speaking and singing Coptic. Even most Coptic priests, their first language is Arabic. Their native tongue is Arabic. They go to the store, Arabic. They get married, Arabic. You know, buying groceries, Arabic. Paying taxes, Arabic. Going to school, Arabic. So to try to use this as being indicative of the physiognomy, the phenotype, the culture, you know, the mores, a lot of these Copts outside of the church, they've been Egyptianized. It's the Arab Republic of Egypt. So they're not even practicing an authentic culture whatsoever, right? So let's just continue.
Egyptian language that was used in hieroglyphs. But did they also preserve ancient Egyptian ancestry as well? We currently have remains of ancient Egyptians from 4 different periods spanning from 8th century BC.
And notice how they don't post any. I know he's referring to the Abasir Malek study. And again, you'd have to be an idiot. You'd have to be an idiot to listen to Queen X. You have to be an idiot to listen to these sandbores. They're trying to refer to the Abasir Malek study and the subsequent studies that sought to validate that. But again, they're not specific. They're not specific. You say you have remains. How many remains? And how many remains are you going to use to basically summarize and generalize the genetic and, cultural, anthropological, and linguistic history of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people from now to the past in antiquity? How many remains? 3, 4, 5? That's not legitimate at all. That's absolutely not legitimate. But let's continue.
To 3rd century AD, and Copts were the closest modern population genetically to all 4 of them. While the remains currently available don't cover the entire ancient Egyptian timeline to the ones we do have, Copts are the closest. You may then ask,
so if you have a remain from the late period when Asians invaded, right? You have a remain from West Asia, like an ancient Lebanese, and the Copt, who is, the victim of many of these incursions, are similar to them. Obviously, that would be the case. But that doesn't speak to the thousands of years of history of the ancient civilization. By the way, you had Libyan dynasties, so-called Ta-Nehesi dynasties from the south. You had different dynasties from across the history. And for you to suggest some type of continuity into the Copts when we know about the invasions, geneticists and linguists are aware of these invasions, it's extremely negligent, to say the least. And you'd have to be a dummy. You'd have to be a dumbass to take this seriously. If you know anything about the way that historical migration works and population dynamics work, you would have to be an idiot to accept this. You would have to be a straight up idiot.
well, what about the Muslim Egyptians? While they also show some affinity to ancient Egyptians, due to the multi-ethnic nature of Muslim states, Muslim Egyptians show additional admixture from other parts of Africa and Middle East that arrived through inter-Muslim marriages. Meanwhile, Copts in Egypt and Sudan generally only married other Coptic people, hence why they score closer genetic distance to ancient Egyptians.
And again, when he's talking about Copts typically marry other Copts, what he's referring to is the God, I'm blanking on that term. Incest. He's referring to the incest. So again, like there's so much there. So the Muslims, they mixed, obviously, but the Copts did not. Really? Is anybody dumb enough to believe that? Like literally, who's stupid enough to believe that? Who's dumb enough to believe that?
YouTube channel, and I'm gonna tell you how.
Like he says, Chief X used to rep RBG, but now he's MAGA Black Conservative. It's because it's more profitable. That's why he's MAGA, because it's more profitable for the YouTube algorithm. You see me, I mean, it's not easy necessarily to be a YouTuber, especially if you're trying to, make a living. It's not easy to be, in favor of, African-centered scholarship, right? And shout out to the supporters. I do appreciate the supporters. I mean, you're the reason that I'm able to keep going, really. But again, like most of them, as King Cam is saying, most of them would switch up for the money. If you're getting more views promoting MAGA talking points, pro Elon Musk talking points, pro conservative talking points, bashing, African-centered scholarship, attacking, Black scholars, if you're making more money, you would do the switch up. Now look at this fool. Look at this fool. He says modern Egyptians are the same as the ancient Egyptians. No population, even populations where we have evidence genetically, linguistically, that there is some type of, continuity. Even in isolation, the gene pool of the average population changes and mutates every 2,000 years. So even if we had definitive evidence that these people were the same people and they were isolated, from the rest of the continent and the rest of the world, their DNA would change. But even on top of that, we don't have the evidence. The evidence actually shows the opposite. So just right off the bat, that statement is ridiculous. It's more ridiculous than saying that, modern white Americans are the same as the ancient population of America. It's ridiculous, especially when, the Rem and Kimi called themselves black. Now, there are some honest cops out there. I've interacted with them, some of them from the Coptic diaspora who do identify as black or Kimi. They honestly identify as black and as Africans. And they do honestly speak to the mixture, right? They speak to the level of a mixture in their populations, because especially the Ottoman Turks who enslaved their ancestors and sold them across the planet mixed and raped their population. And you even see this in some of the liturgical aspects of the Coptic church. So right off the bat, it's just fool. It's just stupid. Again, you would have to be an idiot. You would have to be an idiot to take this seriously. You would have to be a moron to take this seriously. But we're gonna play this video, and we'll see, why Queen X is off his meds. I think it's mute.
The modern day Egyptian is the ancient Egyptian. Period. People don't disappear. Nobody.
Where are the Scythians? People don't disappear. Like, where are the Proto-Indo-European people? People, by definition, disappear. Right? Now, he's trying to infer that the culture is continuous. But again, were the ancient Kemites Christian? Were the ancient, because most modern Copts, which is what he's going to infer, the so-called Coptic population is a descendant of the ancient Kemites, but they're Christian. So is he saying that, is he making a quote-unquote Jabari argument that there's continuity between the ancient Kemetic practices and Christianity? Is that the argument that he's making? Let's continue.
Left their land and disappeared. Whenever someone was conquered, all of sub-Saharan Africa was conquered, chopped up, and divvied out. Every single one of those sub-Saharan Africans, the Ghanaians.
Yeah, he's saying sub-Saharan. We all know that is a racially charged term from Hegel, right? Engels used it as well, but it's essentially a Western chauvinist, depiction and classification of Africa. But let's see what type of point he's trying to make.
The Nigerians, everybody in Kenya, everybody in the whole of sub-Saharan African is still there, although they were conquered. They didn't disappear.
Wait, what has this idiot heard of the Ma'afa or the international African enslavement? No, many of those people after conquest were literally traded on slave ships, smuggled out of the continent. There were incursions and different beefs locally, but again, they were politically, geopolitically conquered, betrayed in many instances, but conquered and literally sold. That's why you see, Candomblé in Brazil, Umbanda in Brazil. That's why you see Santeria in Cuba. That's why you see Vodun in Haiti. That's why you see hoodoo in the southern United States. That's why you have Igbo words like okra in African American vernacular English. So again, like, what type of idiocy? How do you think black people, for the most part, populated the planet? Again, like, I'm not even halfway through and there's already stupidity left and right.
4,000 Egyptians, 4,000 Arabs only invaded Egypt.
That's cap, but let's just...
They didn't change the population that was millions there already.
The linguistics says something else, the genetics say something else, and the archaeology of the Islamic conquest definitely says. I mean, when they took the limestone off from the pyramids, the white tufa limestone, and made their mosques, what do you think that was? That was replacement. That was conquest. It's called the Arab Republic of Egypt for a reason. That's not on accident.
They didn't. Egyptians never ever disappeared. For you to think otherwise means you were brainwashed by Afrocentrics. The modern day Egyptians you see there right now today, July the fucking 8th, whatever the date it is, 2021, is the Egyptians that was there in ancient times. 67% of their DNA is of the ancient Egyptians. Now, everybody in the geographical location today was in the same geographical location thousands of years ago.
Shout out to Queen X for promoting isolationism, which is debunked monocausal archaeology, just like diffusionism and migrationism from the cultural historical period of the early 20th century. Modern archaeologists don't take that seriously, but he literally is promoting isolationism. Uneducated. He's never taken a collegiate anthropology class. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's completely out of his depth. Migrations happen historically. Nobody just sits there and stays in one spot. Even the so-called Koena, which is mistakenly called Khoisan by historical linguists, many scholars believe that they were from North Africa before migrating down, especially during the pastoral Neolithic period. So again, like what he's just so wrong in almost everything, if not everything that he says. He's just so wrong. Even if I'm to be charitable to this idiot, you try to find something that you say correct, but everything you say is wrong.
10,000 years ago. The Native Americans of today in the Americas is the same Native Americans that was there 10,000 years ago.
That's just wrong. That's just false. Like literally everything that have you ever heard of Population Y? Population Y being, a Melanesian related population that is believed to have come from the South Pacific and been first within the American continent. A lot of the modern Native Americans, the ones that came from Beringia, came after Population Y, or after, the putative population that existed in the Americas in the Paleolithic. They don't even have the same language, but I bet you believe the Greenbergian phylum about Algonquin and these different American languages that has been completely refuted by modern historical linguistics who study American languages. So for you to say that the modern natives, which many of them are mixed with Europeans, for you to say that these are the same as the Paleolithic population is false. That's not the way that history works. Populations move and migrate and they get replaced and they intermix all the time, So for you to try to promote this lie, to promote your BS talking point, biased talking point, is just pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
This what niggas is lying to you about. When did the Egyptians ever write or say that they dispersed and left and went to other lands?
The Ural Dial tradition, the Korutum Uba tradition, Sangam traditions recorded by inner Africans themselves literally speak to that. And there's many apocalyptic literature, especially during the late period of Ankh-Nefer and Haru-Nefer, who describe, the ancient Kemites losing and them being defeated by incursions from Western Asians, particularly the Persians, right? And it just so happens, if you look at the research of Ural Dial, compilated by Abubakar Musa Lam, he relates Egyptology in the late period, a lot of the documented records of the late period, to the orature, to the oral renditions of Ural Dial in Senegambia. So why is it that the oral traditions speak of the intermingling after the geopolitical calamities of Western Asians and the native Remenkimi populations? And the orature of West Africans and Central Africans also speaks to this, whether we're speaking about the Wolof population, who describe intermingling from West Asian leucoderms in their history, or the narratives of the Soninke people dealing with Dinka Sise, where they also describe intermingling between these populations during the same period. So yes, it's documented on both sides of the continent. But again, idiots, like X here, MAGA Moringa X, idiots like MAGA Moringa X don't know anything, don't read anything. They literally just parrot sandbore talking points to promote chronological self-hatred. And, slow black people, slow black folks will fall for it. intelligent black folks with at least 3 brain cells? No, you could just look at this and be like, it's stupid. You're an idiot. You're an egghead idiot.
When was this? Why are Afrocentric people lying on the ancient Egyptians? Show me when they said they dispersed and left the land and disappeared. When was this? You can't show that. They never disappeared. See,
yeah, read the AU fact book, moron. Read literally anything by Abubakar Musa Lam. Read any of the late period apocalyptic demotic literature where they speak about their land being taken and them having to leave. I mean,
Afrocentrics would want you to believe, would like you to believe that the ancient Egyptians just poof and disappeared and dispersed somewhere, and maybe, which is not true, went to West Africa or Central Africa and just left the fucking land. It's total bullshit.
Yeah, why does the Nakada marker in ECTS 693, why is that among the Soninke people? That is a Nakadan genetic marker. We're going to go over that. Why is that among the Soninke people? Why is a genetic marker that originated in the Nakadan period of pre-dynastic Kimi, why does that exist in West Africa? How did that get to West Africa? If there's no connection. We're going to get into that.
Shit. The modern day Egyptian is the ancient Egyptian. Now, you have people who filtered there doing business, doing trade, and working. Those are the people who filtered there. They're not the ancient Egyptian or the modern day Egyptian. Egypt has a spot specifically for displaced Nubians. And you will see that in my presentation within a few days also. You guys can't escape and get away from none of this truth I'm talking about. I'm on your ass. And you guys gonna bend the knee and apologize for bullshitting black folk, for lying to black Americans, for deceiving black Americans, and taking them and acting like we got something to do with the ancient Egyptians, or that time period of the Egyptian dynasties and all that they achieved and built had something to do with us. It didn't. It didn't have anything to do with the Nubians either. The modern day Egyptian is the ancient Egyptian.
Did y'all hear what this idiot said? He said it doesn't have anything to do with the Nubians. So the 12th dynasty, and again, Nubian is essentially a misnomer. What he's referring to is Ta-Nehisi, or he's referring to the so-called Southerners. So the 18th dynasty, the 12th dynasty, like the 17th dynasty, the dynasties that we know came from the South specifically. I mean, all of the population essentially came from the South, but specifically after the establishment of the dynastic period, we have evidence of specific dynasties that came from the South. The 25th dynasty, nothing to do with the Nubian, the so-called Nubian, the Southerner, nothing at all. I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. But again, we're gonna show some content, just refuting these idiotic.
Egyptians know who they are. They still have people called Coptics speaking the closest language to what the ancient Egyptians spoke, which,
as we mentioned before, that is not their native language. That's the language that they use in church. Most of these so-called Copts, if they're in Egypt today, the Arab Republic of Egypt, they speak Arabic. They can't even buy food in Coptic, if we're being honest. Now, there are a minority, of scholars, of teachers who have retained, especially in the rural communities of, isolation, they've retained the language to a small degree. But the overwhelming majority of these Coptic people do not speak Bohairic, which is a specific language, liturgical. They don't speak that in their everyday life.
is Coptic. And none of them are nappy, kinky-haired black folk.
Bullshit. Lies. There's literally black cops in Cairo today. There are cops who are black. Tro Black even had a video where he went over all of the different historical evidences of cops being associated with black people, with Africans. So we're going to go into that as well. But again, yes.
Show me some Coptics that's nappy-headed black folk.
Very, very easy, and we're going to do that right after this.
Speaking Coptic language. You can't?
Yeah, this dude is an idiot. So again, there's just too many drinks. Yeah, for real. Like this, it's just sad. It's just sad. It's just absolutely 100% pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And again, this dude hasn't heard of the so-called Ethiopian cops. You know, the Ethiopian church is descendant from the Coptic church. Look at this. Look at this. Let me show this. Look at these. These are Ethiopian cops, so-called Ethiopian cops in Cairo. You see this? You see this? Let me see if I can get this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. You see diversity among the Coptic people in Egypt. You see brown skin, light skin, you know, darker skinned people. You're saying that there's no kinky haired black people? There's no kinky haired cops? These are cops. You know, now sometimes they're called Nubians and Ethiopians, but there are darker skinned people who are Coptic Christians in the Coptic church in Egypt today. Some of them are, you know, recent immigrants from Ethiopia. Others are not. You have all types of shades. So I'm not saying that the Coptic church is not diverse. It is very diverse, right? You do see darker skinned people among the Copts of Egypt today. You see these darker skinned people, right? But again, for you to say that, you know, these people, because of the existence of these people themselves and the Boharic that they use within their church, within their liturgy, for you to say that because of the existence of these darker brown people, or because of the existence of these Coptic speaking people, they definitively are the true and only descendants of the ancient, you know, Remen-Kimi population. That's bullshit. That's a bunch of crap. That's a bunch of idiocy. Now we're going to deal with a scholar called Dr. Muhammad Arabi Farouk Ghaffar, and he is an actual scholar. He is an actual a PhD.
You sent in a proposal.
We're going to listen to what he has to say before we continue.
In Cairo, real Egyptians, they are real Africans. The real Egyptians are black because the real Egyptians, they are real Africans. So those people in Lower Egypt, you see in Cairo, Alexandria, and Falahins area, they were mixed between the Turkish, Mamluks, French, English, Romans. So those people who come to attack Egypt in that time, they couldn't come to Upper Egypt, to the south, which we still have the same color, our dark color or black color, which we still have the same color, our dark color or black color, which we still have the same color, our dark color or black color. So they couldn't mix with us.
Next question. Okay, what question?
مصريين اصليين هم الصم انما جدا كلهم you see I explained to him about the Nubians and the Egyptians. They were not white, they are black Africans. So he say now ليه هنا الناس لسه صم صعيد وفي بحري بيض. He said the people in Lower Egypt, most of them, they are not Egyptians. They are Greeks, Francois.
Did you see many tour groups with people of African descent before Dr. Ben?
No. I have seen, I only was, so individuals like 2, 3 in a group, but not like what, since Dr. Ben started, we saw the African Americans in Egypt, and that was exactly the time. And when was exactly was also the Aztec was the biggest group ever in 87. So the people in Egypt, no one, everyone just, they don't know about the African Americans until Dr. Ben started his groups in Egypt. The majority, I mean, the common people in the country, in the village, they don't know anything about until Dr. Ben started his groups to Egypt here and his tours to Egypt.
Does he teach a different perspective of the Nile civilization than the usual?
Well, yes, what he is, it's a kind of what all the Egyptologists study, what is the books and what it's published and written from the 18th century, since that time. So there is a same one track. And I say now, when is the Dr. Benz and the professors, they started to open a new way of, study, or so this is something different than what it's written, what the archaeologists or the tour guides studied in their own way. So
you mean one is a European perspective and Dr. Ben is an African perspective?
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
A lot of people say that all of this was not built by people of color, that this was all built by whites. Dr. Ben seems to be saying something different.
Well, it's what is the meaning by white or the color? We are in Africa.
About the Nubians and the Egyptians, they were not white. They are black Africans. About the Nubians and the Egyptians, they were not white. They are black Africans.
Turn your ideas into video with AI.
Y'all like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Send a little love on the Cash App or Super Chat. I got a goal in. If I meet my goal, I'm gonna do a Q&A session. Shout out to King Cam. Shout out to Without History. We about to play one more video.
As the height of ancient culture, Nubia is now coming into its own and is being understood to be of equal importance. It is different from ancient Egypt, but it is equally important and not just an adjunct to this Egyptian culture. What archaeologists do when they pull material from the ground or when they translate texts, they bring their own cultural baggage to that interpretation and the baggage of the times that they live in. And so it's imperative that we go back and continually reassess the things that we take as facts. Many of the early archaeologists came to the study of ancient Egypt and ancient Nubia from the perspective of Semitic languages or the study of the Hebrew Bible. And it was very important to them to bring Egypt specifically into the sphere of biblical studies. And so they had to carve Egypt away from Africa to bring it into that sphere. And the way that they did that was they used race. So these early archaeologists effectively made ancient Egypt white in the sense that they made it part of a dominant Western culture, and ancient Nubia was separated from that. It was black. And this was how they took Egypt out of Africa and put it into this Semitic sphere, this biblical sphere. And it's only in recent decades, the last 3-4 decades, that Egyptology has really moved away from that. And scholars who are studying Nubia are really given the chance to give a voice to this Nubian material that it wasn't given much of a chance to have in the past. Someone asks me, what was the ancient Egyptians' view of X? I immediately think of a two-pronged view, because the ancient Egyptians had an official view of many things, and this is the view that would be put up on the walls of temples and on the walls of the tombs of the elites. That was an official, let's say, state-sanctioned view. That bore little to no resemblance to what people actually may have thought. It was the official view. So when you look at Nubia as depicted on the walls of temples in Egypt, you will see Nubians being crushed under the chariot wheels of the king. You will see Nubians being dragged back to Egypt enslaved. What we see on the ground in terms of archaeological evidence is quite different. We see people who had Nubian names, people who were using Nubian material culture, living within Egypt, working in Egypt, marrying people with Egyptian names. So something quite different from the very intense militaristic scenes that you see in temples. When George Reisner excavated Kerma, he found the statue, a large, beautiful statue of Senui, and also a statue partially destroyed of Jaffa Happy, her husband. It was a very large tomb, and with size in Egypt and in Nubia, we tend to assume ruler or someone very important, which usually translates to ruler. We now understand, yes, this was a ruler's tomb. It is a completely different time period than Jaffa Happy and Senui lived in. Much later, we understand it to be a local ruler, so it was a Kerman official who, for reasons we can guess at, brought or had these two statues brought to Kerma and put in his tomb. It could have been an appropriation of Egyptian culture in general, just to show that, yes, I can own these things that are Egyptian wonderful works of art. Because what we're saying, if you read between the lines, is whoever owns these statues is a powerful person. And that means this art has power.
All right, we finna go for a few more pieces of evidence. We finna get on. I gotta find. Hold on a sec, y'all. All right. So yeah, they had a state beef, geopolitical grudge, but they were the same people, obviously, easily. But again, this is an example of some documentation. The churches use Bohairic. It's 9% of the dialects, the documented dialects. The majority of the dialects that we have, we're speaking in the South. And again, this is an example of a darker skinned Copt from Cairo on the right and a lighter skinned Copt on the left. The population varies from dark to light. Some of these, they are recent immigrants from Ethiopia. Others are, they've been in Cairo for millennia. Sometimes they're called Nubian, other terms, et cetera, et cetera. But to act as if there's not black people within Coptic churches in Egypt proper speaking Bohairic is just stupid. It's just dumb. Like only an idiot would believe that. It's really idiotic. Moving forward. Now you have some of the documented dialects, as you can see here on the right. You have Mesochemic, Ashmuninic, Asiutic, Akhmimic, Teshnaic, and Cyanic. Teshnaic being that so-called Theban there, and Cyanic being another word for Aswanic. These are in the south of the country, right? And then you have here from the 19th century, from Meyer's Conversations Lexicon, a renowned German encyclopedia published from 1838 to 1984. It features a survey of the world's people. And in this work, the Copts, who were classified with black nations and described as the Christian descendants of the ancient Kemites. So they were classified with the other black African nations and described as the direct descendants of the Kemites. Although intermixing occurred in the lower Kemet region after the Mohammedan or Islamic conquest, in that top region right there with Bohairic and Bashmurian or Bashmuric, right? That's where you had intermixing. So it's obvious that many of the Bohairic speakers today would be lighter because there was historical mixing in the Delta. Copts in Middle and Upper Kemet largely maintained distinct Black African physical traits, as you can see in this image from the 19th century. As late as the 1800s, this is what the so-called Copts from Middle and Upper Egypt looked like, right? So that's all the evidence I'm going to get into now. If y'all want me to stay a little bit longer, you could give me some support. But if not, I'm going to play my exit and I'm going to be on to the next one. But again, what do y'all think who are still here? To me, it's really easy to debunk this stuff. It's really easy to refute it. It's really, foolish to anybody who accepts it. Extremely foolish. But again, a lot of people out there are fooled, by propagandists, like Queen X. So it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. And you know what? I'm gonna show y'all this. I'm gonna show y'all what he said didn't exist. Let me show y'all a little bit of this. Again, this is some genetic evidence documenting the migration from ancient Kimi into Western Central Africa, right there, from Nancy Burdetau, easily. You have these different phylogenetic trees. What I was mentioning before, where are we at? This is super, super deep stuff if y'all have got my content. But again, here's one. M1A in Northeast Africa is found in West Africa among Guinea-Bissau and the Balanta people via Alexandra Rosa et al. Look at this. ECT S693. This is from the Kada in pre-dynastic Kimi. It's found in West Africa. For the idiots who say that, there was no, evidence, documented evidence. ECT S693 is from Nakada. This is from the pre-dynastic Nakada culture, and it's found in West Africa. So, that's just simple evidence. I don't know if y'all can see the screen or not. Y'all can see that? Yeah, you can, for sure. Yeah, so that's really all I got. And with respect to that, thank y'all for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you like this. If you want to see more roast sessions from propagandists, I'm here, available with your support to roast all of the naysayers, propagandists, kunologists, whatever it is. I'm here to support. So join the Patreon. Join the Patreon if you see fit. Support the channel. Become a YouTube member. I'm going to be trying to post a lot more content really, really soon on each of these platforms. So I'll greatly appreciate it. And with that,
truth burns bright. We stand as one exposing your lies to tonight. No scam or false prophet can dim our light. Keep it unfiltered, let pride take flight.
Shut up, you dumb, you sound like a coon. Get out, Stay clear of this room. We proud, we black, rich, and forever stay paid. They lies and killing spraying from the soil they mislaid. Their tales are sham, cooked up by scammers who toil. So shut up, chief X, you're a grifter, spoil. Your bow having drivel like your soul. Coptic words, their language is liturgical, not to rehearse curse. While Ethiopian and Nubian cops and Cairo so merciful. Drop troops surgical, leaving your myths pitiful.
You act like black folks ain't speaking Remy, give me your idiocy. Runs deep, can't study, can't even see me. Bubble, brother, hush up before I knock your sugar out. Don't twist our ancestors' lore, I'll butcher your clout.
Unity in Kemet, our truth burns bright. We stand as one exposing your lies tonight. No scam or false prophet can dim our light. Kemet unfiltered, let pride take flight.
You claim you came from Baltimore, just more trash on display. I bet the faithful flock was out, dusting your ass away. Into that fat orange cat, you're dumber than a box of rocks. Pushing assimilation as politics to shock like cheap mock. We spot you from a mile, your act just isn't slick. This is real knowledge, not your kuna logic or scholarship. If you scared, you should be watching as I spit. God's flame, no bars, no game. You're done when I put you to shame.
When your twisted lies crumble and your fake talk fades, our united voice echoes, truth never degrades. From the ashes of deceit, our spirit invades. In Kemet's name, your false crown forever cascades.
Rosie aka Amir, your scam's a total disgrace. Spitting away with one jargon at a crooked scheme and pace. Your twist words confused, try to carve up a space. A fraud, your fake gospel body came with no base. You try to fool slow blacks with your bogus empty guys, but your clumsy act crumbles under truth piercing eyes. Kemet stands united, no room for your deceitful art. Step aside, false prophet, your lies will break a heart.
Unity in Kemet, our truth burns bright. We stand as one exposing your lies tonight. No scam or false prophet can dim our light. Kemet unfiltered, let pride take flight.
Unity in Kemet, our truth burns bright. We stand as one, exposing the lies tonight. No scam or false prophet can dim our light. Kemet unfiltered, black pride takes flight.